Let's look at the 270 doctors versus Joe Rogan. So this is a story that has popped up, and if we can get this first article up, you can see here The Guardian here reporting on it. Menace to public health. 270 doctors criticize Spotify over Joe Rogan's podcast. Oh, evil man, what did he do?
How dare he have casual conversations with doctors who say the things I don't like.
Dennis the Menace over here.
Also, they've put the quotation marks over menace to public health. They forgot the quotation marks over doctors.
We'll get to that in a minute. So they say in the opening headline here, a total of 270 US doctors, scientists, healthcare professionals, and professors have written an open letter to streaming company Spotify expressing concern about medical misinformation on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, listed as the platform's most popular program, and also the one they paid the most for, presumably with $100 million or whatever it was. And if we go to the open letter itself, because in here they just selectively take quotes, and that will become apparent as to why in a minute, especially as you mentioned with the doctors.
Yes.
Let's look at the open letter. What do they say? An open letter to Spotify. A call from the global scientific and medical communities to implement a misinformation policy. We just want a policy, bro.
Yeah, we just want them to say exactly what we want them to say.
Yeah,
and nothing else.
I don't buy it, and it will become apparent, of course, which is that, oh, we just want some policy. Would you want some policy guidelines? Just some policy. No, you want him banned. That's what you want. You want the people banned that you don't like.
People have wanted Joe Rogan banned for years, whether it's for platforming alt-writers or anything that he's spoken about, whether it's the trans issue, he's talking to specific people, and now this is just another in a long line of excuses.
Yeah. But even if you hate the guy, just watch something else. Why do you have to ban everyone you don't like? So in here they say, by allowing the propagation of false and societally harmful assertions, Spotify is enabling its hosted media to damage public trust in scientific research and sow doubt in the credibility of data-driven guidance offered by medical professionals. I think the medical professionals of the last 2 years have done more damage to that than anyone else could. I mean, if they tried, to be quite frank.
This literally is almost using the language of heresy. He's committed heresy against our strident beliefs.
But even when you take a steelman position, okay, let's just assume everything he ever says is just complete misinformation, and these are angels who have never said any misinformation. It's like, come on, the last 2 years, the amount of shifting sands on what is the science.
Fauci has held every position.
Yeah. They say, we are a coalition of scientists, medical professionals, professors, and science communicators. What the hell is a science communicator?
I think that's literally just a different word for religious interpretator. I must tell you the words from the sacred text. Let me just read them out of this hat for you. Can I see them myself? No, you cannot.
The seer stones aren't allowed to you. Calling on Spotify to take action against the mass misinformation events which continue to occur on its platform. Again, calling on Spotify to take action. What is that action? Ban Joe Rogan. That is what this article is. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Joe Rogan has repeatedly spread misleading and false claims on his podcast, provoking distrust in science and medicine. Specifically, you might be wondering what the hell they're talking about. Well, they do give us a list, and they list off here. He has discouraged vaccination in young people and children. So is the UK government. So we'll ban the UK government too, I presume.
As did some of their advisors, if I remember correctly.
Yes. I mean, pretty much every government at some point has said that there's the drop-off age. I think still, even with the assertion that, what are we going down to, age 5 in this country? I think they finally got
I think the testing was between ages 5 and 11, yeah.
But vaccination under what is it, 5 or something isn't allowed? And also I can see John pointing out that WHO is also saying that don't waste it there. But, okay, everyone's going to get banned. Incorrectly claimed that mRNA vaccines are gene therapy. I don't know anything about this, so I'm just going to leave that there. Just go and watch Joe Rogan if you want to. Promoted off-label use of ivermectin to treat COVID-19, contrary to FDA warnings. Yes, he did. I think by gun to the head, we have to leave that there.
We can't make much more of a comment on that.
No. That's how science works. And spread a number of unsubstantiated conspiracy theories. Yes. He's a fun man. He likes to have fun. On his podcast.
He also likes to speak about DMT and monkeys and do impressions of those monkeys. What an evil, evil man he is.
Not DMT.
Thought I was a monkey on DMT once, man. It's insane.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was Zuby the other day was saying that everyone he's ever met who hates Joe Rogan and wants him banned, they always come off as dorks. Because anyone who's not a dork can just see that he's a normal guy.
They just come across like people who don't want to have fun.
Yeah, like even if you disagree with him or have a big punch-up with him or something, he would still be a normal human being to you.
Yeah, he's just entertaining to listen to beyond anything else.
But I think the personality trait of just being, I don't know what a better term for it is, but just a nice guy, a mensch, as like Ben Shapiro would say, is probably the best personality trait you can have. But they say in here, Dr. Malone used the Joe Rogan Experience platform to further promote numerous baseless claims, including several falsehoods about COVID-19 vaccines and an unfounded theory that societal leaders have hypnotized the public.
So, do you notice anything about the framing there? They've said Dr. Malone used the Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan didn't ask him specifically to come on to just have an interesting discussion with him. No, Malone snuck his way in there because Joe Rogan's just a simple, unintelligent man who got tricked. This is why he's dangerous. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Sure, but the unfounded theory that societal leaders have hypnotized the public, let's put that in plain English. It is the theory, or at least the thought, that the leaders of several countries have convinced the public of things that aren't true. Let's give the next link, please, just to assess whether or not this is the truth. You see Paul Joseph Watson posting here. This is, for people listening, it is a car, and the man with the car has put face masks over his air inlets in the car, presumably to stop himself getting COVID.
Because your car will just filter in the COVID, presumably.
I mean, if you don't think quite a lot of people have gone mad, you're not paying attention enough.
I mean, the
frankly.
very fact that people are driving around on their own in cars with the face masks on is enough of a sign. This is just one step beyond, though. Good God.
Yeah. We go to the next one. We've got another example. I mean, we've all seen these, but it's never not funny.
It makes it look like a duck bill or something, like it's Daffy Duck.
For people listening, there are some musicians who have cut holes out of their face masks so they can blow air into their instruments to make noise, and then they've covered up their instruments with like cloth.
The cloth does make it seem significantly more phallic than usual, doesn't it?
But also just like, you think these people are sane? You think these people have not been tricked into believing something that isn't true? No, what they're doing here is entirely... No, it's not. And you know it's not. I mean, not even to get into the whole regime we had in the UK and around the world, in which you need a vaccine passport to do X. But I have a negative test proving I don't have the virus. That's not good enough. You need the vaccine passport.
I did it 5 minutes ago. Nope.
It's like, I don't have the virus, but you're still a risk.
Great.
That is an insane thing to say. And has much of the public and our societal leaders believed in such things? Yes, and they made them policy. So I don't understand how on earth they could write that except just being dishonest, which they probably are. Let's go back to the letter for these people. They say, many of these statements have already been discredited. Then prove those images also discredited, I suppose. I don't know what to say to that. Robert Malone says that much of the public has been taught bollocks. People acting on bollocks as his evidence. And you're like, well, that's been discredited.
Yeah.
People are doing that.
I've got photographic images of people doing this. No, they've been discredited.
Okay.
Edited images.
Notably, Dr. Malone is one of 2 recent Joe Rogan Experience guests who has compared the pandemic policies to the Holocaust. Ooh, spooky. What hasn't been compared to the bloody Holocaust at this point?
But at the same time, that's... Once again, we always have to point this out. They never care, but it's a double standard because you can look back to like Gina Carano being kicked off of Disney Plus last year for doing the comparison to how the Germans treated the Jews in Nazi Germany, and then you can go back and she got kicked off for that by Disney. Then you go back to 2018, Pedro Pascal does the same thing except with the detainment centers for the immigrants. He gets away with it scot-free, no issue. Once again, everyone does it.
You dared compare a thing to a bad thing. I mean, that's the argument. Therefore, ban Joe Rogan. Big brain, much doctor. Quote, the average age of Joe Rogan listeners is 24 years old, and according to data from Washington State, unvaccinated 12 to 34-year-olds are 12 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID than those who are fully vaccinated. Not an argument.
Okay.
His audience is young, therefore they're at risk of not being vaccinated. But are they at risk of the virus? There's always been the discussion. The virus goes exponentially up with age. So his listeners being incredibly young, if we're just saying he's complete misinformation, Joe Rogan just wants you to die, well, it's actually a good thing his audience is young then, isn't it? Because they're not going to die at the same rate as, say, an older audience would be. So, again, just a non-point in here. As scientists, they swear, we face backlash and resistance from the public as the public grows to distrust our research and expertise. As educators and science communicators, again, don't know what the hell that is, We are tasked with repairing the public's damaged understanding of science and medicine. As physicians, we bear the arduous weight of a pandemic that has stretched our medical systems to their limits and only stands to be exacerbated by the anti-vaccination sentiment woven into this and other episodes of Rogan's podcast. Oh, woe is we, the glorious scientists, who give only good and receive only bad from the ungrateful public and Mr. Rogan.
This immense weight that we bear on our backs for the good of all of you is such an elitist position to be taking. Sorry, you can't believe the evidence of your own eyes because I, the scientist, have evidence to show you you shouldn't believe it.
But I am an angel. I am literally the prophet.
Yes, I am the prophet of science.
It's a creepy way to word yourself. They finish off here. We, the undersigned doctors, nurses, scientists, and educators, thus call on Spotify to immediately establish a clear public policy to moderate misinformation on its platform. Ban Joe Rogan. Ban Joe Rogan. Why? Because we do all the good. We only good, and Joe Rogan only bad. Why? Because he says things I don't like. Good argument. Very good open letter. Well done, chaps. But that 270 doctors point. Yeah. Let's go to the next link, please. A vet, engineer, and podcast host are among the 270 doctors demanding Spotify take action against Joe Rogan.
Wow.
And it's not just them. A closer look, however, found that the majority of these signatories are either not directly medical providers or are not legally permitted to practice medicine on their own. Nearly 100 of them reportedly hold PhD degrees but do not regularly practice medicine.
I mean, you've got to. I mean, whenever you see anything like this, you've got to take into account the way that people can manipulate words. And the word doctor does not have one specific general meaning, even though we all kind of assume it does. You can be a doctor of music. Will I take medical advice off of you? No, I will not.
I mean, this is why it is absurdist to just point out as, oh, doctors are saying this, as the media did.
It's just a term that people apply to sort of mean a superior caste within society.
I might have some sympathy as a devil's advocate here for the people making the open letter, except that they were completely unclear about what the hell they were talking about. What the f*** is a science communicator? Why would you use that?
It's
That's
a religious interpreter. That's all it means.
But I presume they mean it's that podcast host, for example. You know, that's not plain English. That's not easy to understand. So if you expect a subpar journo from The Guardian to understand it, you can't put all the blame on the special needs journo from The Guardian. So they say The Guardian, Forbes, Rolling Stone, Washington Post, and others published the story describing a strong coalition of doctors who asked Spotify to implement a misinformation policy. Only 87 of the signatures are medical doctors or doctors of osteopathic medicine, though the conservative news outlet The Blaze found. So good on The Blaze there for doing the legwork and finding the research. And, well, yeah, the funny thing is, though, because you might say, okay, well, it's not 270, but there's 70, there's 87.
80, yeah.
87 doctors stand up to Joe Rogan. Bad man, ban him. Yeah, well, they are still doctors.
All right.
Okay, sure. Except that doesn't mean anything. This doesn't work through consensus. That's not how the truth works. And it reminded a lot of people of an old funny story about Einstein. I don't know if you've ever heard this one.
Well, give it a go.
The 100 doctors against Einstein. Sorry, 100 authors against Einstein.
Oh, really?
So this was a document published a long time ago in which Einstein was coming out with his theories of relativity. And a whole bunch of people were like, this is bull. And we can prove it. And so we've all banded together to all sign a letter to say that he's wrong. So the book was not a reaction against Einstein from the physics community. Only one physicist had contributed.
Okay. And he was wrong too.
Yeah. When asked about the book, Einstein retorted by saying, why 100 authors? If I were wrong, then one would have been enough. Yes. And this is what I find strange about these debunks, where it's like, I've debunked you. Why? Because me and all my friends say you're debunked.
Me and all my friends say you is gay.
What say you, Harry? Now.
Oh, no.
But that is the argument. It's just me and all my friends think this, therefore you're... No, that's not how arguments work. Because if you could debunk Joe Rogan, let's just assume everything he says is wrong. Everything he says is just complete bollocks. All of his guests are all just talking bollocks. Well, then you could explain why it's bollocks.
Yeah.
In simple English. In a couple of lines. As the way this point is wrong.
Well, they treat truth as a process of democracy. Therefore, if more people agree with me, I am right, whether or not that is empirically true or not.
I'm going to start using that. Maybe we should start publishing articles that are just like 270 people that says you is gay.
You is gay. And it's only you and your girlfriend to speak to disagree.
Who's to believe them? not me. So they end this off with even because of course this is published in Germany in the 30s. So even though the book contains no outright anti-Semitism, 6 of the authors were either anti-Semitic or Nazi sympathizers. The rising Nazi movement denounced Einstein, calling his relativity Jewish physics. Because, of course, it did.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. That's another thing. Never discount the idea that the people telling you that they have the truth had their own agenda.
But yeah, that's the story. The 270 doctors. I am a doctor, I swear. What do you do? Host a podcast?
I'm a doctor of hair, thank you very much.
Yeah. Could you imagine us claiming we're doctors?
I'm a doctor of the truth.
I'm a doctor of the podcast.
Yes.
Like, it's just such a weird thing to do.
To be fair, if one of us went and got like a journalism PhD or something, then you could claim to be a doctor.
But you'd be such an obvious snake for doing so.
Well, I mean, you'd get headline articles in The Guardian, though, so...
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. So that's the advantage of, well, being a snake, is The Guardian will love you. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to subscribe to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this video, which John Wheatley did, about Saruman the Woke, and him being the most relevant villain in Lord of the Rings. But if you'd like to find out what else is coming out on the website, you can always follow us on Getter, or you could follow John Wheatley at John Wheatley on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.